I told my dad's caregiver she was getting cut out of his will. 2 days later, she quit. And my whole family is acting like I burned the house down, but honestly, I'm still not sure I did anything wrong. Okay, so let me give you the picture. My dad, I'll call him Ray, is 74, and about 2 years ago, he had a pretty serious stroke. He recovered a lot of his speech, most of his mobility, but he can't live alone anymore. He needs someone there, especially overnight. So my brother Marcus and I were the only two kids. We pooled money and hired a live-in caregiver named Donna. Donna has been with him for 18 months. She cooks for him, drives him to appointments, watches TV with him every night. She is genuinely a warm person. I'm not the villain saying she's terrible. She's not. My dad loves her. That part matters. Here's the other part that matters. About 6 months ago, my dad quietly updated his will. And I only know this because his estate attorney, who I'd been corresponding with on dad's behalf for an unrelated property matter, let it slip in an email. The new will left Donna 30% of the estate. 30. That's not a token thank you. That's a significant chunk of what Marcus and I had always assumed would be split between us. The estate isn't enormous, but we're talking about the house, a retirement account, some savings, real money. Now here's where I have to be honest about myself because I know how this looks. My first reaction wasn't concern for my dad's autonomy. It was panic, pure selfish panic. I'm a single mom, I've got two kids in school, money is always tight, and I had mentally filed that inheritance away as the thing that would eventually let me breathe. So yeah, my motives weren't clean, I know that. I called Marcus first. He was upset too, but he kept saying, Dad has the right to do what he wants with his own money. Which, fine, technically true. But then he said something that stuck with me. You don't know if Donna knows about it. If she does, that's a conflict of interest. And that planted the seed. I started paying attention. Little things, the way Donna would sometimes steer Dad away from long phone calls with Marcus. How she'd mention offhand how tired she was, how much she gave up to be there, always within earshot of Dad. I'm not saying she was calculating. I genuinely don't know, but I noticed it. So I went to visit on a Tuesday unannounced, which I admit I've never done before. Donna was in the kitchen, Dad was napping. We had coffee. She was perfectly nice. And then I don't even know exactly how it happened, but the conversation drifted toward Dad's health, his future, and she said something like, I just want to make sure he's taken care of the right way, however long I'm here. And I said, and I want to be exact here because this is the moment, I said, well, I think you should know his wishes may have changed recently. With the will, I think you should be prepared for that. She looked at me, long pause, she said, what do you mean? And I said, I just mean don't make plans based on expectations that may not hold up. I didn't tell her she was getting cut out, I implied it, which is maybe worse actually. I left her with just enough to worry about. She was gone 4 days later. Left a note saying it was for personal reasons. Dad was devastated. He cried, which he almost never does since the stroke. Marcus called me within the hour and said, what did you say to her? I told him the truth. Marcus was furious, like genuinely the angriest I've heard him in years. He said I manipulated her, that I weaponized private information to push her out so I could protect my inheritance. He said, and this one landed, Dad didn't change that will because she forced him to. He changed it because he wanted to. You took that away from him. And he's not entirely wrong. I didn't ask my dad if he knew what he was doing. I didn't sit down with him and say, hey, are you sure about this? Do you feel pressured? I went around him. I handled it sideways, because confronting him directly felt too hard, or maybe because some part of me knew he'd just say it was his choice and I'd have to live with that. Dad hasn't spoken to me much since. He knows I'm involved somehow, even if he doesn't have all the details. He asked me once, very quietly, did you say something to Donna? And I said, I just had a conversation with her. Which is true, also a complete dodge. Marcus has been covering care in the meantime, a rotating set of day helpers, none of whom are a good fit yet. Dad is struggling. The house feels different. Donna sent him a card, which somehow made everything feel worse. Here's what I keep circling back to. If Donna had been taking advantage of a vulnerable elderly man, I'd be a hero for this. If she was completely above board and genuinely cared about him, I'm a greedy daughter who destabilized her father's life because I was scared of losing money. I don't actually know which one is true. I'm not sure I'll ever know. A few weeks after Donna left, I found out through the estate attorney, different conversation, completely unrelated, that my dad had already spoken to him about updating the will again. He hadn't done it yet. I don't know what direction he was going. I didn't ask. I don't think I'm allowed to ask. So here's where I land, and I genuinely don't know how to feel about it. I didn't lie. I didn't forge anything. I didn't move money or pressure my dad directly. But I took information I wasn't really supposed to have, and I used it to nudge someone out of a situation in a way that served me. And my dad, the person I said I was protecting, is the one who lost the most. Was I looking out for a vulnerable parent, or was I just looking out for myself and dressing it up? Because I've asked myself that probably 40 times, and I get a different answer every time. So honestly, am I wrong here? Honestly, though, what would you have done? Comment below.